Hello and welcome to another season of the Bison Basketball Show here on Midco Sports Network. We are set to preview the season and our opening episode here with NDSU men's basketball coach Dave Richman. And Dave, getting things started, got the exhibition game behind you and looking forward. Got to be excited to just finally get your guys on the court playing basketball again.
Yeah, ready, excited. You name the adjective. We're just ready to get going. I've thought a lot and hard about this. Pick out something you absolutely love to do. And if you did that for like 25 straight days, even as much as you love to do something, it would get a little bit old and monotonous. And I think that's where we're at with practice. As much as you love the game, there's only certain things by that 20th, 25th practice, that you're getting out of. And so it's important. We had the scrimmage, we've had the exhibition, and now it's the real thing.
For your team, trying to figure out rotations, who's going to play with the 6 newcomers, that's going to be a process that's going to probably take at least a few weeks and may take right up until the conference opener at the end of December, right, Dave?
No question, Brian, and I'm very comfortable with that right now. We've got a certain amount of guys that we got a pretty good amount of confidence in and what we're going to get. And I think it's important to consistently develop that depth that we feel like can be an asset for us. And all those things are going to play out here through the next 1, 2, maybe 4 or 5 weeks.
You were able to bring in a couple of guards that have some experience. You have the 4 true freshmen, but getting Vinny Shahid, who's made an immediate impact in so many ways, off the court, on the court, and then Jordan Horn getting his waiver to play right away. That, I think, really bolsters your backcourt in the Summit League, which is a really backcourt-driven league for the most part.
Yeah, there's no question. And I think those guys are obviously talented basketball players. They're unbelievable young men, but they've been there and done it a little bit. They've got a moxie. They've been in some big games, whether it be in high school state championship like Vinny played in, to a junior college national tournament. Jordan Horn goes and makes 7 threes against Memphis last year at Siena, and just a winner, a guy that just, when you play with him, he builds that confidence in the guys around him, and those guys are going to be great. We also know that it's going to be an adjustment, figuring out how North Dakota State plays, and again for Vinny, this is his first real go around, obviously, with Division I basketball. So we have to understand there's going to be some adjustments, there's going to be some transition, but it's important for them and us to keep growing through all of this.
You were able to see in the exhibition what some guys can do. Certainly the perimeter game is strong. A guy like Jared Samuelson comes in, hits 3 right away. You saw Jordan Horn come in and hit some shots. You saw Sam Griesel certainly show some positive things as a true freshman. This is an interesting group that you have, piecemeal together between some of the vets that have been here and some of the newcomers, but you can see how much fun this group must be for you to coach, just with all the different pieces you have.
Yeah, I'm glad. I got that question in a press conference, and I'm glad people from the outside are noticing that. We were at practice the other day, and Coach Miller, our strength coach, stretches them, and him and I are just talking as the guys are shooting around and interacting with each other, and just that vibe, and I just kind of lost track of time, and he goes, "You want me to stretch him?" And I go, "Yeah, I suppose, it's time to get going." And so it's nice to come to practice. It's nice to leave practice, with a positive attitude. And I think as much as we talk about the new guys, Brian, we need to give a lot of credit to those 8 returners. They've done such a tremendous job of opening their arms and opening the doors for these new kids and welcoming them the right way, the Bison way. And I think that's a big part of who we want to be when we talk toughness and togetherness.
And that's one thing I think as a coach, sometimes you have to let leadership take its course amongst the team. And I think that's almost been figured out already to a point that the guys kind of understand their roles and who needs to lead in certain instances. And that has to be really encouraging for you as a head coach to see those guys figure that out.
Yeah, I think the tendency sometimes is to pin a guy in the corner and say, "Hey, you need to be a leader." And it's almost more a leader is born, so to speak. And what you have with a guy like Vinny is a vocal leader. What you have with a guy like Jared Samuelson is a lead by example guy. And those are obviously our 2 captains. But I also think as much as we talk about them being leaders, it lets other guys kind of fit into a more natural role. And I think that's the big thing, because when we start doing things we're not comfortable with, when we're not good at, it just compounds different issues. And so I think that's been a big piece, is letting guys settle into their own roles on their own, so to speak, and not forcing the issue.
I think last thing, Dave, just to talk with you, is you're in your 5th year. It's hard to believe you're in your 5th year already as a head coach.
See the gray hairs?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. They're starting to pop in for both of us, yeah. I think, actually. You're constantly learning. A coach never stops learning. What has been a big takeaway or 2 from you going through the first 42 days with this group before hitting the floor for a game?
Well, I think that I've tried to have a bigger picture perspective, if that makes sense. There's a lot of P's in there. And what we mean is we have a lot of access to these guys in June and July, in August, fall, almost all of September. And when we play New Mexico State, that's a big game for us, right? Because that's the next game. But I think the bigger picture is this group, I think we all can see there's some depth, some talent, some versatility. This group, I really feel, has a chance to be right where we need to be when it's that time, late February, early March. And so that there's going to be some perspective, some things that we got to grow through, some experiences that you can't simulate on the practice floor, some experiences that you can't simulate in an exhibition or a closed-door scrimmage. And so having a little perspective that there might be a few bumps in the road, but because of who this group is, because of their togetherness at number one, I do really feel like there's something there.
All right, Dave, thanks as always for the time. We get to do this a few more times coming up this season.
I'm excited.
You're ready for it?
Absolutely. Let's do this.
Basketball season is here, and we'll check out NDSU's highlights against New Mexico State on the other side of this break on the Bison Basketball Show.
The Bison Basketball Show on Midco Sports Network is presented by NODAC Insurance Company, Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, and Proceed.
Welcome back. The NDSU men facing a stiff test in the season opener on the road at New Mexico State this week. The Aggies are coming off a 28-win season a year ago and a Western Athletic Conference championship, but both rosters look much different. It was the first ever meeting between the Bison and Aggies at the Pan American Center, and the home team came out flying, starting the game on an 18-3 run. The Aggies had 44 points in the paint and went up by as many as 18 points before halftime, using a 23-14 rebounding advantage to stretch the margin. But the Bison would cut into the lead behind the hot shooting of Rocky Cruiser. The sophomore from White Bear Lake, Minnesota, hit 5 of 6 from outside the arc, and late in the first half would knock down the tough fadeaway jumper. NDSU would trail 36-20 at the break. The Bison got off to a good start in the second half as Tyson Ward hits the layup for 2 of his 6 points. Tyree Edey saw his first action in a Bison uniform and hit a pair of 3s, scoring 9 points off the bench. Transfer guard Jordan Horn also scored his first points in a Bison uniform as well. Knocking down the 3, the Bison were 10 of 27 from long range in the contest. But New Mexico State kept the pressure on and never let the lead get below 14 points in the second half. JoJo Zamora with the follow-up tip-in. The Aggies had 22 second chance points in this contest, and they go on for the victory. 73-56 the final. NDSU shot just 36% from the floor and were out-rebounded 47-31. Game 1 for the men is in the books. The NDSU women also a busy slate to start the year with 3 games in the opening week, all at home, starting with Mayville State. Highlights of that game and a check-in with Maren Walseth after this. The North Dakota State women's basketball team eager to get the season started, getting a chance to play their first 3 games at home, starting with Mayville State. NDSU was 28-0 all-time against the Comets coming in, but there would be nothing easy about this contest. The Bison racing out to a 9-0 lead in the first 3 minutes of the game with 4 different players scoring in the run. Marina Fernandez dishing to Tyra Spencer for the corner 3. Moments later, it's Spencer to Michelle Geisler-Rova for the long jumper. She was tied for game-high honors with 13 points. But the Comets rally back. Andrea Skillingstead with the turnaround hook shot in the lane to give Mayville State a 3-point lead. Just before half, Riley Nudell muscling the basket plus the foul. North Dakota State would take a 24-22 lead into the locker room. In the third quarter, the lead changed hands 7 different times. Nicole Bunting with the layup for Mayville State to give her team a 1-point lead. But Spencer scores 5 straight as the Bison finished the quarter on a 7-0 run. She scored a career-high 13 points, and it's a 4-point game after 3. Newdell would score back-to-back baskets early in the fourth quarter, including a tough one inside, plus the foul to stretch the lead to 8. Emily Dietz would also chip in with 10 points and 6 rebounds in 21 minutes of action due to foul trouble, and NDSU holds off the Comets 49-43 to win the season opener. The Bison had 22 points in the paint and 10 second-chance points.
We're definitely going in the right direction. We do have to recognize the positive things that did happen and just build off of that. We've seen progress from this last week, but I don't know, I think just continuing to get better.
We have to play together. I think sometimes we would take really quick shots, try and do it on our own, and then also be able to pressure the ball more. They took a lot of threes this game, so we have to be able to pressure the ball and push them outside of the three-point line.
We now welcome in NDSU women's basketball coach Maren Walseth to the set for the first time. Welcome back, Coach. Another season of the Bison Basketball Show, our premiere of Season 3. Can you believe it's already been that long that we've been running this show?
That's great. What growth! What growth for the station and growth for the program.
All right, that's cool. Let's kind of jump into it right away. I mean, you got some new pieces you're putting in. You got some kids in new positions. Let's talk about trying to get everything together over the 42 days and the 30 practices you had. What it's been like trying to get the group on the same page, because that does take time.
It does take time. You know, we have a couple new faces, but really we have an older, more experienced group. So getting the level of play and consistency where we need it to be was really a focus. You know, we were able to elevate our defensive intensity and our defensive game plan, so to speak, over the course of the spring and the summer. And then we add the offensive component and really operating faster and thinking quicker and making quicker reads. So we were able to do a lot of that in those 30 practices that you mentioned. And, you know, now it's here and we're off and running.
And for Tyra Spencer, Marina Fernandez, we've seen them, I think, her early just through the exhibition and through the opener, just see them handle the ball more, take on an added responsibility, I think, in the backcourt. What's it been like transitioning them to that, especially for Marina, who is essentially playing point guard and still trying to figure out all the intricacies that go along with that?
One thing I really like about our team is the interchangeable parts that we do have, and that's part of the recruiting process, is being able to bring young ladies in who are more than just one-sided, you know, who are multifaceted. And so one of Marina's strengths is her ability to push the pace, and for us to be able to use that both on the wing and as a lead guard helps us play to the pace that I think we're best at. And then some increased minutes for Tyra Spencer as well. Obviously the point guard is her natural position, but her athleticism, her defensive intensity, how she can get up into somebody and really pressure the basketball makes her a unique player as well.
And Michelle Geisler-Lover, I thought we saw her, I think physically she looks so much different, as does Emily Dietz. Those two, I think in particular, just looking at them with the naked eye, probably look the most different physically. And you've probably seen in practice that not only are they looking better running up and down the floor, but strength-wise, quickness-wise, I think all those things are very noticeable with them. Would you agree with that?
You're absolutely right. And I think that what we're seeing is what that full 365 days in the weight room really can do to a player. Emily Dietz works extremely hard, being a local kid, even when she was home over summer break at times. You know, she used our weight room, and so she still had the same level of training year round. Michelle Geisler-Lover is in the gym all the time. She cares about her body and her game and how she can improve to help our team so much. Those two young ladies, I think you really see we are all seeing the work that they put in when the lights are off, so to speak, really coming through.
And we've seen you add another foreign player with Circling Rimdahl, who got into the game against Mayville State, and you can see another long athletic body out there. You've had some success with some of the foreign players you've been able to bring in, between Michelle and certainly Marina and some of the other pieces as well. Getting them acclimated just to student life, they seem to make that transition quicker than even a lot of the American kids do, just because they've used to playing at a high level and a pretty heavy academic load as well.
You're absolutely right. You hit the high academic load. You hit the playing at a very high level, whether it was a FIBA event for their age group in their home countries. But the biggest thing is their maturity. It takes a young lady, especially a young person, a male or a female, to leave their parents and everything that they know and come across the ocean for an experience that they're hoping for, but you know is a little new and literally foreign to them. So I think that's a big part of the people that we have brought over as international players, is the maturity level that they have really makes them be successful once they get here.
And to start the season off at home with 3 straight home games and pretty much a week-long span, that's got to be a comfort to just try to get everything on the same page before going on the road for what equates almost 3 weeks. Creighton coming in, New Hampshire coming in, two very high-quality opponents at the Shack. That should be a lot of fun and a good gauge, I think, moving forward to the rest of this non-conference part of the schedule.
You're right, and kudos to Nate Oakland, who he does all of our non-conference scheduling, really putting together a challenging schedule for us. With Creighton coming in, they beat Iowa in the NCAA tournament last year, obviously a major player in the Big Ten this year. So that will be a very good gauge of not only a regional opponent for us, but somebody who can make noise in the big dance. And then follow that up with New Hampshire. Again, a different style of play for us, but certainly a quality opponent. And I think really for our players to get their feet under them at home will give us a lot of confidence then when we go on to Wisconsin and others.
All right, Maren, thanks as always for the time. We appreciate it. Good luck this weekend, and we'll recap it next week.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, stay with us here on the Bison Basketball Show. Much more to come after this timeout. Welcome back. For some families, basketball is life, and that is certainly the case for the Jacobson family. Pat was a standout with North Dakota State women's program from 1985 to 89, inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2004. Her son AJ just wrapped up his career at NDSU as one of the top three-point shooters in Bison history, and daughter Sarah is a guard on the NDSU roster. This week, we go one-on-one with the junior from Shanley High School. All right, back for more one-on-one. We are joined by Bison Junior Guard Sarah Jacobson. Can you believe you're a junior already? It just felt like you just got to campus
Seriously.
From Shanley High School not that long ago.
Time flies. Enjoy it.
So you're the last Jacobson now that's playing at NDSU, following your mom, who's the second all-time leading scorer here, and your brother AJ played here, was here 5 years, now he's in dental school. Is it kind of nice to have the undivided attention of the entire family now playing hoops?
I would say no. I'm a huge family person, and my brother just being in Lincoln, I miss him, definitely miss him. And it was a big reason why I came here, because I wanted to watch him. So I really enjoyed him being here. It's a lot different without him.
Absolutely, but mom's still around to make sure that you're minding your P's and Q's.
Yeah.
Sarah, coming in here and having to play 30-plus minutes right away as a freshman and then go through that grind, and you're going up against bigger, stronger guards, more experienced guards, that usually makes you better, but that doesn't mean it's any easier to take some of those tough lessons. What did you take away from your first couple of years in the program?
You know, I think as a team we played really young. A lot of kids in my class and classes ahead of me had to play young, and I think we just gained a lot of experience, got that time on the court together, so hopefully these next couple of years we can play together and be better.
Is it weird to be one of the oldest players on the team now? Because, I mean, go back a couple of years and you were still a newbie going through everything, but with only one senior in the roster, that kind of falls on your responsibility now.
Yeah, it does feel weird that there's only one senior and new people coming in, just a different perspective you have on it, being an upperclassman than coming in as a freshman.
And off the court, you want to kind of get in the medical field, I believe, so take me through kind of what you're doing right now to prepare yourself for postgraduate work when you're done.
Yeah, so obviously I'm in like the pre-med route, and I've done some shadowing. I've shadowed an OBGYN doctor who I actually went to high school with her daughter, small world, and then I got to shadow a general surgeon a little bit. So just being in the OR, kind of experiencing that, and then I'll prep for taking the MCAT after the season's over, and I'll apply to medical school before I take the MCAT, send my MCAT in, and see if I get accepted into med school.
Is it tough balancing all that? I mean, I was always told if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person, but this is taking it to a whole new level, because trying to be a Division I athlete at this level, plus manage a very heavy class load, can't be easy. How do you do that?
Time management, I guess, and I mean, just being driven and seeing the future. Obviously, like, there's days you get tired and stuff is overwhelming and exhausting, but you see there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Keep pushing through, do the best that you can. I'll work out in the end. God has a plan.
That's right, that's exactly right. And as you've grown older and matured and everything, what is something that you would tell your younger self after going through some of your experiences the first couple of years of college?
I would say, like, enjoy the moment. Life is short, you don't have to be so serious, it can lighten up sometimes. Have fun.
I would have to agree with that. Sarah Jacobson, a philosopher And also women's basketball player here at NDSU, one-on-one. Jacobson was named North Dakota Miss Basketball in 2016 and helped lead the Deacons to 3 consecutive state championships and a record 70-game win streak. Stay with us. We're back to wrap things up with a look at the upcoming schedule after this.
The Bison Basketball Show on Midco Sports Network is presented by Ndsu Insurance Company, Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, and Proceed.
Back to put a wrap on our season premiere of the Bison Basketball Show, and plenty of action coming up for you this week, starting with the NDSU women hosting Creighton on Friday night. That is an early tip at 5 p.m. on Midco Sports Network. Then on Sunday, a Bison doubleheader starting with the men at 1 p.m. for their home opener against UC Santa Barbara. That's followed by the women taking on New Hampshire at 4 o'clock. Both of those contests will also be on Midco SN as well. We hope you'll join us next week. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.